Barcelona wants Laporte. Arsenal have identified an Aubameyang replacement. The Chelsea legend wants Sancho. The Premier League draw up a return date plan and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, and transfers keep on spinning. Well, the rumours do anyway. And apparently Barcelona are now interested in taking Manchester City defender Laporte to the Camp Nou. Surely if one French defender wasn't good enough for them, then they've gone and got two, and now they could be adding a third to their ranks. So alongside Clement Lenglet, Samuel Umtiti and then Laporte, surely Barcelona's defence once and for all will actually be sorted. From Manchester City's point of view though, I just can't see them selling him. He's been such a brilliant defender for them, and you can see, especially this season, that when he's not in the side, when he's out injured, he is a massive, massive loss. If anything, if I was Manchester City and they didn't have a Champions League ban, which they may or may not have in the upcoming years, their link with Skriniar from Inter Milan should definitely be a strong one, and they should definitely go for him alongside Laporte. If they sell the Frenchman to Barcelona and they sign Skriniar, they'll literally be in the same position. They'll have one class centre-back with an absolute ringer next to him, like Otamendi or Fernandinho, someone who's just filling in but really is not a defender of that type of quality. We've seen it, as I mentioned, with Laporte this season, and as soon as, I don't know, someone like Skriniar gets injured, City will literally be back where they started all over again. When Pep Guardiola came in, he identified the weakness in the team. They had like Bakary Sagna, Gael Clichy, Zabaleta, a few other fullbacks who were really poor. Got all of them out, spent quite a fair bit of money, I think over 200 million on fullbacks, sorted out the position. So Guardiola, if he stays as well, needs to be doing the same thing at centre-half. As for Barcelona, like we mentioned before, Laporte will be the third French defender to join, but will actually really be an upgrade on what they've got. Don't get me wrong, I think Umtiti and Lenglet are pretty good defenders as well, but Laporte is just that step above, and the way that he plays with the ball with that brilliant left foot of his really suits Barca's style of play. But next up, to Arsenal, and again, we're talking about replacement for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, we're not necessarily certain he's leaving, but like I mentioned on Friday's Daily News, there is quite a possibility because his contract is running into the last, 15 months or so. If Arsenal want to get any money for the 30-year-old, they're going to have to sell him this summer, because it looks like he doesn't want to be signing a new contract. But we'll push all that to the side for the minute. Talk about potential replacements, Arsenal fans, because, you're going to need a goal scorer if Aubameyang leaves. Now, there has been talk about Moussa Dembele coming from Lyon, but it's actually another player who used to play in the French League in Odsonne Edouard. Now, he's currently playing for Celtic, having left PSG, and this season has been in fine form. The striker this season has 21 goals and 12 assists in the league and will probably cost over 30 million euros. Now, I know, straight off the bat, you're going to be like, oh, Matt, it's Celtic. They absolutely dominate Scottish football. Like, of course he can score. Yes, this is true, but still, it's not actually as bad as you think. And alongside this, Edouard's been very, very consistent for them in the last 18 months or so. I mean, Moussa Dembele did the same thing at Celtic. He was absolutely brilliant, and then he moved to Lyon, and he's been good at Lyon as well. And they're in the Champions League. So yes, you can say the league isn't too difficult, but I still think Edouard's got the skills, and he definitely would be a hit in North London. The only downside to this is if you then look at what Kieran Tierney bought after joining the club, no, that's not too promising. But I think Edouard would be totally different. Anyway, for 30 million, that's pretty cheap, and especially considering that getting rid of a 30-year-old Aubameyang in the last year of his contract is probably going to cover the amount of transfer fee for a brand new striker in his youth, seems like a pretty good deal overall. Of course, when this summer transfer window actually happens, we don't even know, so probably refrain from calling it the summer transfer window and just the next transfer window. But talking of transfers, because that's all there is to talk about these days, and John Terry, former Chelsea legend and current Aston Villa assistant manager, wants Jadon Sancho to join his former club. I mean, yeah, who doesn't? Jadon Sancho is one of the best wingers in the world, so it would definitely be a good idea, but there is a little bit more truth to what John Terry's saying because, well, there have been rumours that he will be joining Chelsea in the summer. Now, of course, there have been loads of links with Sancho pretty much going everywhere, and it looks as though Liverpool's set to be the front runners if there were to be a massive bidding war for him. But Jadon Sancho is from London, does have friends like Callum Hudson-Odoi at Chelsea. The only reason I can think of him not joining is because, like with his friend Callum Hudson-Odoi, he'd literally be stifling the career of others. Don't get me wrong, I know that everyone's got to have squad players. I know that you've got to have depth in your squad, especially if you're going to go deep into all four competitions. I just can't see Sancho joining to want a place on the bench. Like, he's playing week in, week out at Dortmund, so he'll want to start at Chelsea. That pushes Hudson-Odoi onto the bench and potentially stifles his career. The same thing can happen on the other wing with, like, Christian Pulisic, or maybe he goes up front and Tammy Abraham has to sit on the bench. This isn't exactly ideal for Chelsea, and, you know, from what I've seen of Callum Hudson-Odoi, he could be a real star. Personally, I'd stick with them in spending 120 million on Jadon Sancho, which is just going to harm the rest of the players. The thing that Frank Lampard's done so well is bring through a few youth players who have really added a lot to the Chelsea squad. So to go and completely ruin that, well, that actually would be typical Chelsea with a big money signing, but hey, not my club. And next up, talking of transfers, we'll forget about them for a second because the Premier League have apparently put into the works an initial plan of how they're going to return to action. Now, this basically just reeks of the fact that the Premier League are desperate to fulfill all of the TV and sponsorship contracts because they need all of that money. Not playing all of this football is going to be a massive loss not to the clubs but to the Premier League itself as well. Now, over the weekend, of course, Premier League football was suspended until April the 30th at least. And apparently the Premier League have drawn up a plan which says they're going to return to football on the 1st of June, just without any fans. They're going to have to play the rest of the season behind closed doors and have set themselves a 6-week window, so from the 1st of June to mid-July, in which they're going to finish all of the Premier League fixtures. There's, I think, 9 or 10 for each team, plus the FA Cup as well, and we're just in the 5th round. Not overly sure this is going to happen, especially when you consider the fact that if there is football to be played, even if it is behind closed doors, you're going to have UEFA wanting the Europa League and the Champions League to be played as well, more than likely in some sort of mini tournament which lasts a week or two. I can't see them cramming all of this football into such a short amount of time. The fact that the Premier League wants to do it is, well, as I mentioned with the TV contract and the sponsorship and all that kind of stuff, they also want to get next season underway on time as well. I mean, surely they can't be thinking about next season without finishing this season first. They said apparently if the season finishes in the middle of July or early July, there'll be a 4-week break and then the season will start again on August the 8th. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but even just putting forward these ridiculous ideas is utterly shameful. It really is all about money. So lastly but not least, a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Liverpool defender Dejan Lovren is expected to leave the club in the summer with his contract expiring. Liverpool and Arsenal are interested in Frankfurt's defender Evan Ndicka. Chris Smalling has said he'll take a pay cut to join Roma rather than joining Arsenal. That's a little bit harsh. And Barcelona, could they really be selling Antoine Griezmann? According to a few reports in Spain, they'll be willing to let the striker go for around 100 million euros, 20 million euros less than they signed him for last summer. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts on all of the day's daily news in the comment section down below. Whilst you're there, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.